Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Players Own YouTube channel. And Real Madrid have a Vinicius Jr. sized problem right now. The highs of the El Clasico, the highs at the start of the season, a 5-point gap on top of La Liga, amongst the top three, the big three in the Champions League as well. But there is still some unsettlement at the football club, and it all surrounds Vinicius Jr. Subbed off once again on the weekend in the Clasico, one of his better games this season. But you see him come off frustrated with Xabi Alonso. Words here like shouting, "It's always me, I'm leaving the football club," and other words surrounding Xabi Alonso. And then fuel to the fire, he's come out recently midweek and apologised to the fans, the ownership, and taking responsibility for that, but never apologising to the manager. And it's been a rift between the two players, I think, since Xabi Alonso got there. Tried to be phased out at the Club World Cup, worked his way back into the starting 11, has played not too bad this year. Got the stats here, 5 goals and 4 assists across 13 appearances in all competitions. Yet to make an impact in the Champions League, but in his 10 La Liga appearances have been very, very good this season, overshadowed by Kylian Mbappe. And I think that's where it sort of comes from. And I'm a big Vinicius Jr. man. I had him for the Ballon d'Or in that Rodri year where Rodri ran out on top. And that really, for me, though, since that moment, has really unsettled him. And this is probably more of a him problem, but it's become personal. He's become aggravated. Poor performances at times last season, despite the stats showing he had a great year, maybe a better year in many regards, considering how poor the side did. It was a worse season last time around. Coming this season has been a really, really important figure. But there's multiple things here. It's one, Xabi Alonso from minute one saying, "You're not a part of my type of system." To the system not fitting and suiting Vinicius Jr. I think the biggest one, and which contributes and adds on to that Ballon d'Or discussion and his ego surrounding that, is that Xabi Alonso made it very clear from day one, this team is built around Kylian Mbappe. And fair enough, Kylian Mbappe will probably go down as this generation's best or second best player alongside Erling Haaland. He is the man, and you see it so far for Real Madrid this season. He is the focus, the centrepiece of this Real Madrid side. And we look to, I guess, the Leverkusen side, the invincible side that Xabi Alonso built and they dominated the league with and ended that great Bayern run of 13 league titles. It was central players like Florian Wirtz in behind a Schick and a Boniface that really thrived. And it wasn't wide play, it was wing backs that were very, very good. Jeremy Frimpong and Alejandro Grimaldo, who are two-way runners who can get the ball and drive the ball forward. More assist-orientated footballers that did get their fair share of goals, but were driving the side forward in terms of the chance creation. Vinicius Jr. is a direct, inverted style of winger, direct winger that gets at defenders, likes to chop inside, skill inside, and then shoot and take a shot on goal. And if you look at some of the heat maps this season for Real Madrid, obviously, Kylian Mbappe is the man. Arda Güler sort of works in behind him. Franco Mastantuono is out to the side, but still quite centrally orientated. And what happens is Vinicius Jr. almost becomes like a second striker or like a bypass, where he's like a left-sided striker, but sort of away from how the team's structured so centrally. A lot of the heat maps, it's very orientated down the middle. And that's the way that Xabi Alonso has played his football. At Bayer Leverkusen, now at Real Madrid. It's dominate the centre of the park. Valverde, Camavinga, Tchouameni, Mastantuono, Güler, and with the big man Kylian Mbappe up top. There's not much time for players in the wide spaces. Alvaro Carreras has done a fantastic job as a left back, done a lot of the good work defensively and going forward. You remove a Vinicius from this side and play a player maybe like Rodrigo, or you just don't play wingers in general and play more centralised players. All of a sudden, I think this system becomes even better. So it's clear that Xabi Alonso doesn't need a player like Vinicius Jr. Vinicius Jr., who's a top 3, top 4 player in the world at his best, maybe even the best player in the world at his best. And that just created a rift between two different egos. And in this example, I sort of back the Xabi Alonso corner here. He has the right to say, well, I've made Kylian Mbappe the cornerstone of this club, this team. That's the way it's going to be. If you're not going to buy in and play your role, whether that be 60 minutes off the bench, sharing with Rodrigo, well, I don't need you. Because in a system like this, Rodrigo is as good, maybe if not better, than Vinicius Jr. will be. And yes, they're both very similar in terms they play on, they thrive on the left, and they cut inside. But I think Rodrigo's a little bit more tidier in possession, can work in those tight spaces. And I think that's why going to the season, I had the bold prediction saying Arda Güler may be a Ballon d'Or candidate, because he is also a key figure of the system. He works in behind Kylian Mbappe as that striker. Xabi Alonso wants technically gifted players. He wants those players that work well in tight areas. I think this next generation of manager, Cesc Fabregas, Xabi Alonso, very similar in the way they play their football. Nico Paz, Arda Güler, Franco Mastantuono, is these types of players that stand out as the cornerstones of the build-up play to supply for central striker. So if he's not going to buy into the pressing and the defensive work and the centralised style of football and the possession and the intensity they want to play with the ball, he's not going to be a part of that side. And as such, he is going to be the one substituted. And yes, probably the weekend was a warranted frustration because of how well he played. I think it was one of his best performances of the year in terms of how well involved he was, his covering off defensively, the pressing he was doing. So maybe it was a warranted, frustration at the end of that game there. But my God, it doesn't look good for the football club considering how important he has been, the cornerstone he's been for Real Madrid over the years. So it's a tough look for Vinicius Jr. And then it comes on to the next point of, where do they go from here? So to make sure the audio going here. Yeah, we're still good to go. The next question sort of comes, where to from here? Where does Vinicius Jr. go from here? Saudi Arabia, a high percentage of chance in transferring there. PSG has come out as a key favourite to, suit Vinicius Jr. Look, I can see it, understand it. A manager like Luis Enrique can make a lot of players better. I don't think he fits that system. I really don't think that is the best fit for him. I've got two clubs that I would rather him go to. Boy, would we love him in the Premier League. I would love to see him in the Premier League. It hurts me to say this. I'd love to see him at Arsenal. Arsenal were missing that dominant left-hand side player. And when you've got touchline players like, I guess your fullbacks in many regards, in the Ben White, the Urian Timmins, that can stay on the touchline. They can invert, but they can stay touchline. Because Saka is really an out wide winger that whip balls into the area. How great would it be to have a direct inverting wing on the other side, just to contrast that, and then allow Calafiori and Miles or Skelly to go around the outside? It creates dynamism in that final third there. He can play as the false nine and play as a striker. If this Victor Gyökeres deal is going to end up going the way the Arsenal want. And look, Arsenal are probably the best team of football, I think, at this current point in time, over how balanced they are. They're so good defensively. And at times they can be a bit slow and pragmatic going forward. We've seen Eberechi, Eze add so much dynamism to this side, so much intensity and that intangible ability on the football that brings life to attacking play. Imagine a player like Vinicius Jr. joining that Arsenal front line. Now you've got real problems because you've got the technical ability and the consistency of Bukayo Saka, the dynamism of Eberechi Eze, alongside Martin Odegaard has to step up his game and be a little bit more aggressive on the football. Then you've got one of the most aggressive dribblers and front-footed players in the world in Vinicius Jr. to complement, hopefully, an informed Victor Gyökeres. If not, maybe it's a false nine like Kai Havertz. You ain't stopping that Arsenal side because of how good they are defensively and in midfield areas. So I'd love to see Vinicius Jr. come to the Premier League and apply his trade there at Arsenal because, boy, would that system just fit him. It's a weird comparison, but it reminds me of like Leroy Sané in the early Man City days under Pep Guardiola. As they started to become very, very rigid and organised, he was the one sort of X-factor, burst type player. And I feel like that's what Vinicius Jr. could be at Arsenal. And obviously, boy, it would kill the league. But if he joined Bayern Munich, I could not see them losing a league title in the next 5 years. Elise Kane, Vinicius Jr. up top with Musiala in behind. You can give it up. Realistically, you're not stopping that front line. You've also got Luis Diaz, who's there just recently joined, but Vinicius Jr., a younger player, a better player, a more dangerous player. That front three with Musiala behind, as I said, that's wraps. That's league over. You can't stop that. And then that, for me, probably edges Bayern Munich over the line to the Champions League because of how good Vinicius Jr. is in that competition. In particular, because Harry Kane and Michael Olise are quite good defensively. Harry Kane, obviously, for England and Tottenham has been the great drop-in centre forward. Olise has played for a Crystal Palace side that has to defend a lot prior to moving to Bayern Munich. So you've got two unselfish forwards that allows Vinicius Jr. to not really press as much and not do that as much defensive work. It doesn't come natural to him. And that's why I think he'd be better at these two clubs versus the Paris Saint-Germain. That needs every single player to press, and you press as a unit. and you defend as a unit and you build up as a team. I think Vinicius Jr. is a little bit too individualistic to fit a PSG. Don't get me wrong, Luis Enrique can make many people work, but we saw how Mbappe struggled there and was phased out and wasn't wanted by Luis Enrique. I can see a very similar story with Vinicius Jr. happening. But apparently he wants PSG if he joined there. A shame for Kvaratskhelia Kvaratskhelia, or I think it's been fabulous for Paris Saint-Germain. But again, this is all in 6 months' time in the end of the season. I don't think Vinicius Jr. is leaving this season. Boy, would that be a bombshell if he left in January from this Real Madrid side. But it's interesting how the season goes forward. Let me know your thoughts, because I think Xabi Alonso is in his right. I think him and Rodrigo in the Xabi Alonso system are very similar. Don't get me wrong, as raw, talented players, I think Vinicius Jr. is a far better player. But consistency and fitting into this Xabi Alonso system, I don't see much difference in the two of those players. And Rodrigo needs his game time. Franco Mastantuono and Arda Güler are like locks in this front line right now. And then you forget about Brahim Diaz and you forget about Jude Bellingham, who also need to fit in this front line as well. So it's tough for Vinicius Jr. right now, considering he was a Ballon d'Or snub or 2 or 1A, 1B literally 2 seasons ago. Now he's almost being forgotten about. It's not like he's being forgotten about, but he's being substituted first at Real Madrid. It can be a lot to take the hit, the ego-wise, but if you're at Real Madrid and you're with a manager that's going to win games by playing a certain way, you might have to take that hit. So someone has to swallow their pride. I don't know who it's going to be, but it looks like Vinicius Jr. is on his way out. I think Arsenal, for me, the best option. Bayern Munich, the second best option, but obviously Paris Saint-Germain would be scary in the Champions League if he joined Desiree Doué, Kvaratskhelia, Ousmane Dembele, and that midfield trio as well. It's going to be exciting to see. But there we go. That's a storyline to come later this season, whether it be in January or the end of the season. Let me know who you think will be the best fit for Vinicius Jr. But obviously, the one thing right now that's gone wrong at Real Madrid is just him and the off-field drama. Other than that, they are flying. Big win in the Clasico, up the top of the Champions League table. So only one thing right now, and there's a big name, Vinicius Jr. With that being said, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Please smash a like on it, subscribe to the Players in Channel, press that post notification bell, and I'll see you guys on the video or podcast very, very soon. Till next time, guys, see you later.